Here we go. We're taking a ride about town today, and we are in High Point again. If you have not seen my previous video on High Point, you're definitely going to want to check it out right here. We're going to see a totally different side of High Point today. Some things that may look similar, but some things that are going to look different, because what I'm focusing on today is the fact that this weekend, High Point University students are moving back to High Point and back to campus. And because of that, I want to focus on you parents and what you might be focusing on right now as we kind of go toward campus. This neighborhood right here is right outside of campus. We're only about a mile away, actually, so we'll be seeing campus right up here. But what I wanted to focus on is a lot of times parents are really looking, when they first get here, they're thinking, okay, I'm moving my student in, but where the heck do I stay? Where do I go? What do I do? We do obviously have plenty of hotels and Airbnbs around High Point, but why would you not go ahead and take advantage of potentially not only investing in your student, bringing them to HPU, but also investing in yourself in the future by potentially looking into an investment property right here in High Point. Not only would it give you a really great place to stay when you're coming for those parent weekends and those graduation weekends and all the other fun stuff that HPU has to offer for families, but it also gives you the opportunity to rent something while you're not here and go ahead and bring in income that may even help pay for those books or that tuition. So today I just wanted to drive around and kind of show a little bit of some different neighborhoods that have things like 2 to 3 bedroom homes, different styles and different locations. Right up here, you're going to see campus. One of the things about campus that you're always going to know, you're around High Point University campus, is this distinctive brick wall. You're always going to see this gate and this brick that really distinguishes the university all throughout campus. And one of the things that High Point University decided to do was acquire some of the land and some of the homes and some of the areas around here so that the university could expand its housing and expand its resources. So you have like student health services is over here to the right. All of this used to be something else. That was a former church right over there. This is a former funeral home over here on the left side, and they kind of took that over for additional parking for events. Student housing was acquired right over here. This was actually built after the land was acquired. There's also housing that used to be older neighborhoods right along this left side of the car. You can see all kinds of this housing and matching housing on the other side because this used to be nursing and retirement community housing, and that whole corner was purchased as well. So really the university came in, and as it grew and as Nito Cobain took over as president and started to really develop not only the university but the city of High Point, more and more of High Point was being kind of acquired, but for a wonderful use and for a wonderful preservation, really. So one of the great little coffee places that there is now is Cairo Coffee. It's right there. There's a church right there as well that utilizes that space. But this is the old Oak Hollow Mall, and it goes all the way around in a big circle. Dillard's is still one of the anchor stores and is still there. This is also college parents. This is what you always want to know, college students too. This is also where the Target is. So you're gonna find the Target here, along with a couple of other things that are just conveniences. But what I want to be sure and emphasize just ahead of us is a condominium community that that does offer condominiums, often from the really the low 200s. It's a great place that if your student decides to move off campus, that is still extremely convenient to the university. So right through here is Windchase. There's some nice little townhomes through here. Great opportunity to purchase and stay. Here's a nice quiet community. Definitely has you know has the convenience you want, but you don't have to go crazy in terms of price. These have been here for quite a while. There's 1 level and 2 level options in here, and it just gives you an option and an opportunity to be in more of a townhome style community versus something like an apartment. We definitely have plenty of apartment rental opportunities around High Point that would be very traditional for a student to move off campus and use. However, when you can potentially have an investment opportunity, I think it's even better. Of course, I'm a realtor, so I'm always going to say that. But real estate, I feel like, is something that you can never go wrong with. So that was one neighborhood, and literally pulling right out of that neighborhood, we can go into this next neighborhood that's actually giving a little bit different style investment opportunity, more of that condo style. And these are typically, you can sometimes find these for like the upper 100s to into 200s, depending on how updated they are. Again, when you're looking at maybe a mid to mid to upper 100s, you're probably looking at places that are going to need just a little bit of love, a little bit of personality, maybe a few cosmetic things that you may want to do to make it your own. Other than that opportunity, you're really going to find things that are going to be great places to stay, or great places for your student to be able to utilize. So yeah, these are really popular for not only just rentals, period. So if you're just looking for an investment property versus something for your student to move off campus, these are great investment properties, and they have always held their value, been very popular in terms of the location and what they offer. You have typically 2-bedroom options are what's going to be here. The first level ones, a lot of them have the end units where they do have their own private access. And I'm going to go straight across the road here just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. These first level ones have options and opportunities for private entrances on the first floor, so you don't have to go in through a foyer or anything. The upper level ones you're probably going to access through a central foyer here. But all of that is all typical and predictable. So, but it's a nice, again, you're talking about something that is incredibly convenient to High Point University, minutes away from campus, but really quiet and tucked away versus feeling like you're in the middle of all the action. Now, if you want the middle of all the action, we'll definitely be seeing that in just a little bit. One of the things, when we're talking about rentals, or we may be talking about your student wanting to move off campus and maybe having a roommate, and then splitting the cost of your investment. And then there's also the aspect of having you stay in something like this when you come in, but then Airbnb-ing, or looking at having an opportunity to rent while you're not here in a short-term rental type situation. One of the best times to do that, and one of the best ways to recoup a lot of your investment around here, is actually during the International Furniture Market. High Point, the city, actually hosts the International Furniture Market twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, and you're able to that the furniture companies that are bringing people in actually want to rent locally, that do those short-term rentals like those Airbnbs and those VRBOs, because it's so convenient. And typically it's a little cheaper for them to be able to have housing like that versus housing in a hotel for a week and a half or 2 weeks. You're usually talking about 10 days. That's the most, um, that's the usually the most that someone's going to come and stay during those times. But during those times, these places can rent for several $1,000s for that time period, and that really recoups a large, that can be several months worth of your mortgage payment if you're investing that way, or just recouping your investment if you were a cash buyer. This is another one of the neighborhoods that's more of a townhome style situation. It's, again, extremely quiet back here, tucked away, rents very well to parents who are coming to see their students. Also during furniture market, definitely does well. These have been around obviously for a little bit, but it kind of gives you, I don't know, it kind of gives me a camp feel back here, but it's not. It's very much 2-bedroom typically, maybe a couple 3-bedroom townhome plans back here, that are just honestly, again, just a wonderful opportunity to be able to pick something up for a decent price and be able to recoup your investment over those 3 or 4 years that you may look into it. And then there's the back exit back into this neighborhood. Now, this neighborhood has been around for a long time. If you're looking more, less at a condo, townhome style investment, this type of neighborhood is throughout High Point. Things that were built in 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, some of them that are being purchased, flipped, updated, or some that just are going to be updated by you. You're going to look at a whole lot of different just opportunities to invest at a different rate. So, you may find homes that are in the upper 100s that are going to need that TLC that you can bring, and that curb appeal that you're going to be able to bring yourself with your touch and your personal things. And then there's also going to be those houses that are probably in more your mid to upper 200s that are going to be those 2 to 3 bedroom houses. Again, those are things that you can short-term rent, that you can just hang on to for yourself. That first year, I strongly encourage students, and typically High Point does as well, that they stay on campus their freshman year. After that, they can certainly explore other options and opportunities to live off campus. So you may be investing based on just just on your own lodging when you come in to visit your student. Then again, you may be thinking of something more for your student in the later years and having roommate and that type of thing. We are coming up to the Walmart, another anchor store that college students definitely love to know about. So we've got a lot of construction and growth going on here in High Point right now. So you're going to see that as we drive too. But right here, we're coming up to the back of the Walmart. We also have the Lowe's Home Improvement Store and the Tesla dealership right here, just in case you're in the market. And then right here on the right is the Chick-fil-A, another thing that is incredibly popular here for our college students. I mentioned too the Chick-fil-A because it is a big hirer of college students. So if they're looking for that part-time job that may help them just with a little bit of fun money or anything like that, that Chick-fil-A has actually known for hiring college students for sure. There's a really nice movie theater at this strip mall on the right, and then we're coming up to the Hartley Drive Family YMCA. The YMCA is a great place if your student is a is a person who likes to work out. They offer such convenient memberships, really, really affordable. This YMCA has really been a kind of a pillar of the community, and it's just a great place to go. Lots of family activities, but also a whole lot really good. Like I said, gym facilities. There is a pool here. There is obviously playground, soccer fields, that type of thing. But they have a whole lot for someone who just wants a membership to to a place that's cheaper than something like one of those big box gyms. So moving out just a little farther, you may find a little bit more of an opportunity for homes that are already already ready to move in, not needing maybe that little bit of TLC that we were talking about, maybe being a little bit newer builds. I'm going to take you to this neighborhood right here. This actually starts out with apartments. So as I said, High Point does have plenty of apartment opportunities for students, but this is one that actually was just recently built in the past couple of years. So, but through this neighborhood, you'll see single family homes on my left. You'll see some condo opportunities on my right there, and then we come into more of the 80s builds right here of these smaller single family homes. These are typically really, really strong rentals here in this area, and they have traditionally always done well in terms of retaining their value, for sure. I'm taking you up to another neighborhood right up here that kind of has a mix of townhomes and condos. Again, all of these, I just like to emphasize how incredibly convenient they are, just really minutes away from the campus. And I find it also, I know I'm focusing and talking a lot about investments for potentially parents of students, but if you're local right here in High Point, this is something that you may have wanted to experiment with or check out, having an investment property and growing your portfolio and knowing where you should go or maybe where you should look for that first opportunity. So here we are in, like, again, probably a more, I would say, even more quiet, tucked away neighborhood. But again, just minutes, so convenient to the university and to all things High Point. So again, separately from the university, if you are local and or even not local and looking for a great investment opportunity, this is a great place to be able to rent for that furniture market that I was mentioning before. So down here, there's some single families, but there's a lot of these townhomes, these one-level townhomes right here. I actually helped a family purchase one of these, and they used it as an investment property and as their student's home for while their student was here for grad school at High Point. And then attached to that is this little condominium community. There's just two buildings right here, and this is one of the ones that I was talking about. I actually just helped somebody purchase one in here. Very cool. Over here to the right, and then also to the left. Really, I want to emphasize this one to the right here on the end, has a separate entrance from again, like these are the same kind of floor plans as the ones we saw previously, and they're awesome setups for college students or for rentals. You have a private entrance on these first floor units, and then you have the central entrance for the for the upper level units. But it's this is a kind of cool community because this condo community is tucked away amongst this this townhome community here. So just a lot of interesting opportunities. This unit right here on the end is actually the one that I helped them purchase. They utilized it for all 4 years that their student was here. And then we ended up turning it around and selling it for, for a profit for them. So it was a really, really a great opportunity for them, and just a great little tucked away spot back here. So we're going to come around this cul-de-sac and head back out. Check out more of High Point. Something that I'd love to emphasize is that I know a lot of people really love their walking. They love to get out, they love to walk or run, and quite a few of these neighborhoods that we've been seeing either have sidewalks or are quiet enough that they're very, very walkable, very, very joggable. If you're training for that 5K or 10K, then these neighborhoods are going to give you that opportunity to be able to get out and safely be able to navigate. Now, if you keep going straight, there's definitely more opportunities out there, but you're really starting to feel a more country feel outside of the city. This is going to lead us right back into the city. So lots of single family homes. Again, you're looking at probably the mid 200s through here. And you're looking at 3 bedrooms, standard, typically 3 bedroom, 2 bath homes right through here. But very, been around for a hot minute, those 80s, 90s builds. Plenty of opportunity to be able to spruce up something for your, for your student or for a rental opportunity. And then there's a break in that. You saw a break in kind of a transition. This goes more into an apartment community that's right here in the middle. So it's kind of funny. There's pauses in between on this road. It's a really, really interesting road because of how it transitions. Because this section right here is then condos. So you have opportunities for condominium purchases and investments right through here. Then you're right back to apartments again. So this road really, really transitions, and then you're on this section of road. And this section of road has been developed back in the 50s, 60s, when furniture was the height of High Point. This road housed many of the executives. So you have a lot of the older executive homes that were here. So it's kind of a fascinating street. To be able to be back on the beginning part of the street with an investment property, but then to head toward downtown High Point and be able to kind of drive through a neighborhood that has so many unique homes and homes that have been here, for quite a bit of the history of High Point. It's just a really, really kind of cool transition back into downtown High Point. We are back to Lexington Avenue. Now, Lexington Avenue is going to take you literally all the way back to High Point University's campus, but we are out more toward the outer limits of downtown. So we're literally going from Davidson County back into Guilford County. So High Point does span a couple of different counties, but we are going from Davidson County back into Guilford. We just crossed the line, and all these neighborhoods back in here were established more 40s, 50s, 60s. You're going to see some 70s houses, but kind of very well established neighborhoods and varying ranges. I mean, really, these neighborhoods to the left and the right, you can go from the mid 300s to probably up to mid 300s. Sorry about that. Mid 300s to to up to the 500s and that type of thing. Just depends on the little nooks and crannies of the neighborhood that you're going into. So as we approach Westchester, that is another one of the major kind of thoroughfares. Westchester is 68 and it actually runs all the way out to the airport. So if you're really trying to like kind of pinpoint where we are and what we're doing, this intersection that we're coming to, remember Lexington is what we're on, and Lexington takes you all the way to High Point University, and then this Westchester section right here, this is 68 and it will take you all the way out to the airport. So that kind of gives you kind of a little bit of an anchor point for where we are and what we're doing. Another great little coffee shop that I really, really love is DeBean Espresso. It is right across the street here, across the intersection. You'll see around town a lot of these "We Love High Point University" signs, and that is a business that is absolutely fabulous. Also, one of my favorite restaurants that has so many like little niche items on their menu is Tipsy's Tavern and Grill. It's right over here to the right of us as well. So pulling into that driveway right there can give you your coffee in the morning and some really, really good food for lunch and dinner. So I did definitely want to point that out. Now this road, Lexington, and all of the houses behind these neighborhoods right here, again, great single family, 40s, 50s, 60s builds, really probably more 40s, 50s builds. These are great houses that people have either already started to kind of grab up and, you know, flip or update, or they're ones that people are looking at because, again, we are within 10 minutes or less of campus, and also extremely convenient to downtown High Point for things like the International Furniture Market. So definitely keep that in mind if that's what, you know, if you're hanging in here with me and seeing what truly is all available. We've kind of taken a nice big circle around High Point to show just different styles of homes. I'm going to turn in right here really quick. This is another excellent condominium community that has been around for a long time. It has great historic charm, super, super cool, like big open areas in the middle, kind of courtyard areas in the middle. But these condos are really, really great little investment properties. They're 2-bedroom condos or 1-bedroom condos that are just giving a great little place to stay, a great little place to rent. So they have been around, and their resale is really, really terrific. So I did want to be sure and pull off that Lexington drag for just a second, just to let you guys know about that condo neighborhood, because it really is terrific. Right here, somebody took a little investment here, and those are for lease right now, some 2-bedroom townhomes for lease. So that's, again, if you're looking at more of a lease situation versus a purchase, that's just a different style that you can find right here. We're running parallel to Lexington right now, up the road, just back toward Main Street of High Point. It's really going to take us into into Central High Point. But right here, we're coming up to the High Point Post Office, the Emerywood Station. And if you'll remember, when you watched my my High Point video, we went through Emerywood. So you're already familiar with that neighborhood because of what we talked about before. We're right back up to Main Street now. And Main Street is, of course, where you're going to find just about everything. You all saw a lot of what we were, of what I love on Main Street. Up in this section down here has a lot of your bigger restaurants, some boutiques, some shopping opportunities, just really conveniences. A lot of the conveniences of High Point. And then we're right back up to Lexington. And if you made a right here, we'd go back up to where we just came from. If you make a left here, you're going to go straight to campus. And if we go straight, which is exactly what we're doing, then we're going to head right toward downtown. And you're going to see downtown of High Point and see how convenient all of this was just within really within minutes, you had all of those different options and opportunities to look at for investments. So that's really what I wanted to focus on today. So as we wrap up our journey together, I'm just going to show you one last segment of things so that you know exactly, kind of how it all ends up tying together. That is my office right here on the right, or on the left. Sorry, I don't know my right from my left. That big blue house right there is my real estate office, and it's right here, close to the Krispy Kreme. That is, of course, an anchor. I will use that word again, because if Krispy Kreme isn't an anchor for you, well, you're missing out. So off we go to downtown. I wanted to just wrap up because I talked about High Point University, and that's kind of an obvious thing. Being at the university, being a parent to a student at the university, and possibly looking at investments and everything. But when you talk about the international furniture market, people are like, what the heck is that? We actually have a multitude of furniture showrooms downtown High Point. They are literally only used, most of them, twice a year, but they are taking up a lot of the buildings that are in downtown High Point, because it brings in so much commerce and so many visitors twice a year, that it is actually worth it to these companies to lease out this space for just 2 times a year, but to have these showrooms and spaces to be able to highlight their furniture and their interior products. So as you go through, you'll see a lot of company names on the sides of buildings, and different storefronts here along here that show you kind of what all of these literally are flooded with people all during the spring and the fall market. I mean, literally in every nook and cranny of High Point, you have more industry and more furniture companies that have leased the spaces, and it's kind of incredible. So I point that out to you to show just how many thousands of people are involved in the furniture market, and why it's a great investment opportunity for you. So you're going to see a lot of things coming right here. The Suites at Market Square over there to the right has a lot of different little spots. As I said before, there's quite a bit of construction going on right now around High Point, because we're trying to make the roads better and the traffic flow better for everybody who comes to visit in this area during this time. So to the right, you're going to see a lot more of those warehouses and those spaces that the furniture companies use when they come in. And this will lead us right back to the High Point Rockers Stadium, and then back up to Krispy Kreme and back to where we started. As we wrap up the video, I really do hope that it has been kind of just interesting and informative. Another angle on the city of High Point, some help if you are discovering High Point as a new parent of a student at High Point, or if you're just an investor in the area who just didn't know all of the different aspects. I would love to be a resource for you. I would love to help. You can reach me at 336-491-8533, and also at cromerpropertygroup@gmail.com. Thank you so much for hopping in the car with me and being a passenger today. I've had a really good time showing you around High Point, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.